Everyone. Welcome back to the Next Level podcast, where we take you to the next level and show you how great life can be in the wonderful world of Vanity. I'm Carm, and I've been busy as crap, but I'm here to have a good time and talk about some fun stuff in Final Fantasy XI, joined by the great and talented
Dexprozius. You can just call
Thanks
me
for
Dex.
Okay, that's what I do. But thanks for coming on today. We're going to talk about some Sortie. We're going to talk about some fun stuff, but
Good purple halls.
yeah, the wonderful purple walls. It's never ending, but it's fun. I've enjoyed the content, but how have things been going with you?
Honestly, just keeping the static running has been busy. We run at late hours, and I just recently went over how many people we've gone through in the last year, and I was shocked. I was like, oh no.
I saw that post. That was awesome. But hey,
Reminded me.
Neo's
Oh,
holding strong.
yes, he's doing good. He's been here 6 months, 7 months now. He's the last of the Mohicans, as you would say.
As to the Mohicans, I like it. That's good stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been so crazy busy with everything. I feel like it's been weeks since we made a podcast episode, but I'm glad to be back and glad to
Forget the
talk about
podcast.
some.
I never see you anymore at all.
I hardly see myself,
Oh no.
mainly because I avoid mirrors because I don't like to look at myself. But uh, yeah, I mean, I've been pretty much logging on for Sortie, but I missed 5 days in a row of Sortie. I,
Jeez.
I felt like I was having withdrawals. I was scratching at myself. My fiance was looking at me like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I haven't seen the purple walls in a while. I gotta get back.
Log
I gotta get
in,
back.
do
I
some
gotta get
laps
back."
around Nora. You're like,
Yeah,
I can't do anything.
going crazy over here. But yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've talked about Sortie and what's changed. So, I mean, we talked about the last time we were talking about Sortie, it was when Mage Strat was king and Ammonon first came out, and everybody thought it was cool to get 40k a run.
I'm gonna mess it up, but you know, time flies and it's bizarre. Is that 3 years ago now?
It's at least 2.5.
Jeez.
Yeah,
The good
time
old
does fly. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to even think that Sortie's been out that long because we're still learning about it. Like I think it was a few months ago, but they just recently learned how to proc the stupid unicorn in F.
Well, that's not all. They figured out the Aurum coffer in the basement as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know this one.
that was discovered around a similar time. I saw some YouTube videos go up about breaking the horn. It's still kind of inconsistent. Most people speculate it's like, I don't know, 20, 30 low damage weapon skills in rapid fashion under 25%. Because, Square Enix.
Yeah, the flat blade
But,
spam of
um,
Legends.
I think it was half a year ago now, because time flies and it's all a vortex. But I saw posts on the AH, the good old AH, where everyone's not toxic. It was like people doing multiple blue mages and just not doing bosses because they weren't skilled enough or didn't have the teammates with jobs proper to do Ammonon. So instead of doing that, they would bring a bunch of blue mages, go into the basements, cleave everything, like gather everything in every room into one spot and just entomb until everything was dead. And then by accident, after doing multiple basements, they got the gold chest. And they're like, what? How do we get that? So then they experimented with it and they found out it was like, I don't do this, so don't quote me. I'd have to look at the wiki. I think it's 5 of each mob type in each basement triggers the gold chest.
Wow, really?
Weird, right?
I've never even heard of this.
But yeah,
I
that
don't know where
weird
I've been, but
odd blue mage strat where they would do every basement and sometimes they would go back into E and redo E, or maybe it was Maybe it was F. Either way, they redid one of them for extra points.
Oh, that is on BG. 3 of each slime, slug, and
Okay,
flan,
that's even easier.
2 fairies, and 2 of each of the elementals, 3
Yeah.
hounds, dullahens, and vampires, and 8 haughty foes of different jobs.
Yep.
It still says, it still has the little warning verification needed,
Asterisk.
but what the heck? I have never seen that.
You didn't know that? It was
No.
recently discovered, and I know that they were doing, like, I wanna say, like, 60K runs, which is really good considering because they were just, like,
Yeah,
leaving and doing a couple basement bosses. They weren't doing the hard ones. I don't think they did H, but, like, damn,
sure.
that's not too bad for running around and just spamming Entomb. If your group can't
Yeah.
do Ammonon, that's a nice path of progression.
I feel like Blue Mage is a more rare job to have than the jobs that it takes, but I mean that's also cool and a cool way to enter into Sortie group. Like you make a new Sortie group, you don't have Arya, you don't have the Dancer Dagger and some of the other
Yeah,
stuff like the primes. Like that's a cool intro. I've never heard of that, so you just
it's
blew
a
my
really
mind
cool
wide
strat.
open. That is awesome. I
I'm
love
feet into
learning
all
things.
things Blue Mage, so I have to know about it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like I had no idea that that was even a thing. So thank you for blowing my mind already. I'm really glad I had you here, and we've only been like 5 minutes into the episode. Minds are already blown.
Silly
Worlds are
shit is
changed.
happening. It's all wacky and zany here.
But I mean, that's the cool thing about this game. Even though it's 23, 24, I don't even know how old it is anymore. How old this game is, but we're still learning things. I
Well,
mean, we just
Rare is
found out
so
the other
good at
day.
they're so good at just hiding everything from us. They don't give us any hints whatsoever. They're very
Yeah.
secretive. Mechanics are never explained. Even even after people circumvent them and win, they don't reveal what they intended. It's just okay. I think
Yeah,
Sortie
having that second group clear the master trial is like,
I was gonna talk about that too, but
oh no.
it's like, can you just tell us what you want us to do? Because both don't seem the right way. In like the the first group that cleared the master trial, they kind of circumvented Theodore by zombieing him, and the second group that cleared it is abusing some exploit or mechanic with August to make him not TP. It's like, what do you want us to do?
Yeah, I always found that zombie strat weird because it exploited the hate mechanics of there for some reason. If he was claimed outside of party,
Oh, I
well,
guess there's that. True, true, true.
yeah, if he's claimed outside of party, he doesn't link up to August, but if he's unclaimed and resets, he links to August. Because in their progression, they were always talking about if they didn't claim Theodore fast enough outside of party, he rushed to the tank and rushed to August, and they could never get him off. So it was
This
like this
kind of
weird.
like it's kind of like off track, but discussing that master trial, I think the way it works is the last knock that spawns will be where Theodore spawns. So you kind of kill it, and then you drag August to the other end of the arena, and he has some sort of weird radius where
Mhm.
he will leash to August. So even in the new strat, they still do that and go to the opposite end of the arena to keep him from linking with August. Linking's a bad term because it's not
You're
really what
right.
that. But and they like stymie sleep him now instead.
Really? Yeah, I haven't watched all of that
There's
new
a lot
video. I've
to
just
this game
read.
that's all in Japanese, and I don't speak a lick of it, nor do I read it.
Yeah, I don't either, but I mean, all of our group chats have been blowing up about this new clear and everything, and that was all the talk. And Sortie last night was their new clear and stuff like that. So it's interesting though, just how there's been so many different things. The one that still blows my mind though is we still haven't found another way to clear Bumba.
Well, to my understanding, the Japanese got close. They were doing the mechanic, air quotes, where you proc them, and it was just a nightmare. No one's gonna
Yeah,
do the miserable, slow, and hard thing to do, even if it's the right way to do it. If an easy, the path of least resistance will always prevail.
Well, I mean, I think it's just the fact that we don't understand it. That there's just so little understanding of what the mechanic truly is and what the at least this is how I understand it, which I have not dove into that rabbit hole that is
Well,
Bumba, but
there's that, but it's also like it's a mixture of the mechanic is hard to deal with. There's multiple layers of RNG involved as well because, he'll set up an element and you have to be paying attention very closely to the little cloud of smoke he puts out, what color it is. And then when the timer goes down, he picks a random proc from one of the tier 3s and you have to check for them. And all the while you can't feed him TP or he denounces and you lose. It's like it's a
23
nightmare.
year 23-year-old graphics trying to figure out which color of the
Yeah,
cloud
really.
comes out.
What color was that? Was that yellow? I couldn't tell.
And it's a time fight, so you can't like mess up and screw up and things like that. You gotta
Super
figure it out quick.
window of error. Oh,
Yeah.
you have like 5 seconds to figure it out.
I would love to see a different way to kill Bumba, but it's just
I
is what
love
it
seeing
is right
all
now.
strategies, even if they're not ideal.
Absolutely. I think they're just fun to go in there and toy with. I've never been one of the teams that's gone in and like I did air quotes though, no, not that anybody could see, but I hope the effect was felt. I've never
I
been one of those people that like went in there and tested all these things and
oh,
tried to
I
figure everything out.
I give those people, the pioneers, so much credit
Oh,
because
yeah.
I do not have the patience or time to do that.
And that's what it comes down to. Like I said, I've basically been logging on for Sortie, and then I get back to what the heck I was doing in the real world.
The scary grassy place that there's dangerous outside and
Touching grass.
ugh.
But I got to play in my disc golf tournaments, and disc golf season's coming back. It's already open, so I'm pretty excited about all that.
You know your way around a frisbee.
I do all the way around since it is a circular disc.
Nerd.
Okay, Mr. Yu-Gi-Oh tournament.
Hey man, gotta do what I gotta do.
Hey, I heard you did quite well. I was proud of the boy wonder.
I went a little here and there. I'm not like a pro or anything.
Hey man, it's all
I just
about
try to
having
have
fun.
fun. Hey,
Wow, look at us. We're really vibing. The sink is there. Not the kitchen sink, but the sink.
the level sync.
Oh, the next level sink, if you will?
But
Yeah, there we go. I gotta throw that in at the end of the day. That one was for the striker wherever he's at. But yeah, Sortie. What's changed since we talked about it?
what
Like we
hasn't
said,
changed?
correct. Yeah, back when we talked about it 2.5 years ago, it was running through his mages, setting up magic bursts, setting up skill chains, and doing your thing there. Now it's running
Well,
through with the power of 8,000 suns and just exploding everything.
well, for anime fans, it's like the seven deadly sins. The guy who holds the sun in his palm and just destroys everything. It's like, oh, I got the nagling. You're gonna die. Savage blade, savage blade, savage blade.
Yeah, there's still some savage blading going on, but I was really happy to see Dancer get its moment in the sun.
It's almost like it's designed for sortie.
Yeah. I mean, you think about all the different ways that Dancer can be used, and it's got movement speed, it's got sneak and invisible built in, it's got a haste built in, it's got really spiky burst damage that is on a 3-minute cooldown, which basically is running from boss to boss anyway. So you're just
It's kind of like miraculous that, Bolter's roll is so busted and it gets you to the movement speed cap no matter what, except for when you have this unremovable curse if you don't kill the Naraka. And guess what? It stacks with with a chocobo jig, and now you can circumvent that too.
Yeah, you talk about the things that SE just randomly put in. You wonder if this is like what they intended. I mean, I don't think they intended us to switch bard songs. We definitely can't be doing that. Absolutely not.
Well, of course not. Why would you switch bard songs? You have a Lona Shade. You can just overwrite them with the same 5. You don't even need to do dummy. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm not that cool yet. I'm still working on my stage 5 horn.
Puts on your shades. Super cool.
I try to be, but I'm just not there yet. I'm still working on that first stage 5, my first glowing purple. I was late to the sortie
Are you one
party.
of those stage 4 collectors?
I only have 2. I have a stage 4 dagger, I have the stage 4 horn, and then
It's not a collection.
if 2's a
Small
collection,
collection.
if 2 is a collection, then okay. I have a stage
In this
shield
game,
though.
when the craziest people on Earth have like 5, I guess 2 is still pretty relevant.
It almost feels like you're supposed to have 2 just in case some ding dong accidentally clicks hard mode, and you just
Oh, you mean like what happened in my group the other night?
and then you're sitting there like, "Oh, we got a meso," and you're just sad because you just made your stage 5 and you don't have a stage
He's
4
not gonna
ready.
listen to this, but we had our red mage bring us into hard mode the other day, and then we timed out because of it. Because Sortie is such a race, and you really
Mhm.
are just pushing the time limit, trying to get all these extra credit objectives, and you want to get as many box opportunities as possible. So we push our time to the absolute limit because we know how long things take typically. Oh, oops, we went into hard mode. We probably don't have enough time for that, especially with bad rolls. Yeah, we didn't clear in time, timed out at 7%. So then
Oh.
a couple days later, lo and behold, we're fighting Ammonon, and how come he's not dead yet? I'm not doing enough damage. This is strange. And then, surprise, there's a Meso. What did you do?
Yeah, that's
I
we've had a
re
few moments like that too,
I
where we're like,
re-nicknamed him the deepest dork.
"That's awesome." But yeah, sortie has become like such a relaxing event for me. I
It
don't
can be
feel
really
like
chill.
we even talk about the run half the time anymore because we're so ingrained on the strat that we've done over and over again that it's just like nobody thinks about it anymore. We just do it by routine. And
You build up that muscle memory, and you're just like, "This is what I do."
I definitely take it. I definitely take it for granted a lot because I'll fill in for other groups, and I'm like sitting there having to think the entire run and like
That's
trying to.
the
Oh,
thing. I've played with other groups, and we all do the same thing, slightly differently.
hmm the
And
result
it's
is
just like,
pretty much the same.
for the most part. I think all 9 boss sortie groups are aiming for that 86 to 92K range, and it's whatever luck you get on Bitsard spawn locations and whatever extra credit you go for, when and where.
Yeah, I was still blown away that day that I was sitting there like building this Excel spreadsheet from scratch, and I'm like, I'm gonna make something cool. I'm gonna come up with a way to like actually figure out how much galley we're getting out per run. This is gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about this. I tell you about it, and you send me the exact spreadsheet I'm building already done, and I just like, oh, okay, I'm not cool. I'm not innovative. The wind just completely got taken out of my sails, but
The same idea can be thought of. You might have made a better one, though. You should still do it. Mine was bare bones.
I'm not gonna lie, it was gonna look about the exact same when you sent it to me.
I'm not an Excel spreadsheet master. I can make some basic ones.
Yeah, but when you sent it, I was like, "This is
Oh,
exactly what I was building."
yeah. I was gonna do that.
But yeah, I mean, sortie's pretty much become about consistency. Like, as
Yeah.
long as you're getting that 9 boss and you're getting everything you can on top of it, you feel good about your run.
I try to give people as much push to get to 9 boss as possible, because if you're doing 8 boss melee style, I think it's harder than doing 9 boss once you get down to the nitty-gritty.
It is. It definitely is. And I've heard it from so many people. I've never really done the Melee 8 boss because I've
Oh, I've
been
done plenty
very
of it.
blessed. I've been very blessed with my sortie groups. I had the one that I ran before I took a break when I actually was optimizing all this, and then
You took a 2-year break?
yeah, I think
Or
it was about 2 years.
so you missed out on the good old days.
Yeah, I wasn't here when hard mode first came out, and the bosses were like, you
They
had
were
to
broken?
if somebody had a stage 3 or a stage 4, whichever one it was, it automatically took you into hard mode bosses, and you just hated life, and it was the worst thing
Let
ever.
alone that there were even hard mode basement bosses, and now they
Yeah,
just removed them. Thank God. Do you wanna, like, go over how that has transitioned?
sure.
'Cause, I mean, way back when, were were you around when Sortie was just upstairs?
Yes. I've done
But
sorties since the very beginning, and then basically when Ammonon came out, and then after that, pretty much nothing
I
until
wanna say it
9
was, like,
boss.
4 or 6 months of just upstairs.
Yeah, it was a while of just the upstairs bosses, and everybody
That's
thought
nothing
Savage
to say.
Blade and yeah, Savage Blade was so cool. The melee strat was king when it was just upstairs.
But that being said, you would get to, I wanna say it's Gartel, the B boss, but
Mhm.
that might be the basement boss,
Oh, yeah.
and you would still wipe
LeBron. It was LeSean or
LeSean.
LeBron
That's
or
right, that's right. You would get to LeSean, and it's like, "He stole all our buffs, we lose."
you got zapped with, like, something that you didn't want or
You just got zapped, blocked,
yeah.
stun, stun, stun.
Gosh, he still does that.
He's still a dick, but I think it's a lot easier to manage him now. People burst him just a lot easier.
Oh, sure, it's easy to manage, but you're either dealing with somebody that stuns you to death or somebody that takes your 5th song, and then you have to do the rest of the run with only 4 songs, and you're just like, "Okay, this kinda
It
sucks."
is frustrating. I
Yeah.
think, back then, everyone would save Soul Voice and SPs for him because there wasn't anything worth doing otherwise.
Oh, absolutely. He was definitely I mean,
Enemy number 1.
he was our roadblock for a long time. A and C, like, fell to the ground, died easily. He could always B for some reason, B could always give us problems.
You know what's cool about that, though? Because any newer players or players interested in getting into Sortie who happen to listen to our conversation will probably have experienced or are experiencing the same thing even now, because everyone starts at different points.
Yeah, that
I've been talking to people in one of my socials that is trying to progress, and they're just getting their toes wet. They're doing cage runs, CAG,
mhm. Oh,
good
yeah.
old stuff. They're like, "I got 30K today. This is incredible."
Yeah, I remember when I thought I was, like, tough
Hot
shit,
shit.
and I got 8 runs on Mage before Ammonon even came out, like, we were sitting there doing 8 bosses with just mages, just chilling, no big deal. We we developed a split, we had everything going, everything was just firing on all
Did
cylinders,
you
and
do
then
double scholar or did you do a ranger in there?
double scholar.
That's
Yep.
fair.
I like the
Yep.
double scholar. I liked all I still like the mage strat. I
Was the
wish it
mage
was
threat
more relevant.
developed for the basement bosses because of the weapon skill wall they added, or was it
I think so.
already? Because that's how I remember it, but it's been a few years now.
People had theorized that the mage strat was a good way for the top area as well, but without that weapon skill wall, it was just
Didn't
so
force it.
easy and so approachable to just bring really strong DDs and just shit down their throat, for lack of a
Well, for
better
anyone that
term.
doesn't know, when Square Enix added the basement, because people thought there was going to be a basement, because there is in the regular Rick Hasner zone. And eventually they added those devices to go down. All those bosses, E through H, had this obnoxious weapon skill wall added to them. And I think it was introduced at the same time as the V25 Odyssey fights were added.
Correct. I think
And
it was right before. I
yeah,
think
it might
I
have
think
been.
the basement was the start of the weapon skill wall, and then V25s still had them, and we
Yeah.
knew the mechanic because of Sortie. I think that's what it was. Don't quote me.
Yeah, that sounds right. But both of those tiers of content, those high level tiers of content, had this obnoxious weapon skill wall that doesn't exist today because it wasn't working as intended, air quotes, where if you did a weapon skill, any weapon skill, not just a weapon skill of the same name, but any weapon skill would get nerfed by like 80 or 90% unless 10 seconds had passed.
Mm-hmm.
So people were making macros. It's like
It's
Savage
so bad.
Blade, weight 10, party, weapon skills are ready now.
Yeah, the intro was just so overtuned and so bad.
So how
Oh
to
Lord.
circumvent that? Well, we're not gonna weapon skill.
Yeah, and everybody was so worried about the nuke wall before the weapon skill wall came out. Like they're like, the nuke wall's the worst thing in the world. Like we've become so strong and powerful. I just don't even notice the nuke wall anymore.
When you get really proficient at playing mage groups and you time your nukes properly, where your heavy hitter gets the front of the damage before the wall kicks in, and then, your geos and whatever come in after, or, your helix comes in strong and vice versa. It seems kind of second nature if you're used to that type of content. I think veterans of this game who played in like the 2015-16 era where everyone black mage spammed kind of are a lot more familiar with it. And as that type of content decayed, people forgot it existed, like it was some stone tablet hidden away, and everyone just savage blades, right? Like just run in and you spam the weapon skill. It's easy. You click the button.
Build your
No, it's dead.
Nagling. Build your Nagling and you're ready for endgame. That's all it was.
I mean, that is the consensus for most people,
Yeah.
sadly. But all this knowledge of how mechanics work kind of gets lost when people go brain dead and just burn.
Well, I still know people that are doing Ongo V25 that are like, I can't nuke. I can't nuke as Geo or I can't nuke as Scholar because I'll wall the Black Mage and this, that. I'm like,
Smart.
do you know how much damage I put out on Scholar? Like, I've scholared that fight quite a few times. And I mean, I'm not doing Black Mage levels of damage because I'm making skill chains and doing all the other things that Scholar does in that fight, but you're still doing just about half as much. Like, if the Black Mage is hitting 2.3, you're hitting 1.1, maybe
That's a
higher.
lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage that a single person would have to make up for. And I mean, even the Geo during rake windows, like, your nuke wall is basically not there. There's no reason. And all Ongo V25 is anymore is optimizing your rake windows. There's no reason not to burst.
That type of thinking is kind of contagious throughout the game at the moment, over like the last 5 years, I would say, where supports in general have come to play more of a DD role, where in the past they would sit back and let actual designated DDs take control.
Yeah.
Nowadays Bard does Savage Blade and it does really good numbers. And now when I see it and I think back, it's like, why wouldn't they?
Well, you think about the current 9 boss strategy with your Paladin, your Red Mage, your Core, your Bard, your
Everybody
Dancer, and
weapon.
your Geo. That's 6 support classes, basically.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing damage. Everybody's pushing out. Like, I know that a few people I know are trying to like hit cap damage on Geo. Like, what are we talking about here? I've
I
popped
don't
out
think it's a
some.
few people we know. I think it's one person we know.
There's a couple of them, but yeah, it's mainly the one person, Afro. Shout out to Afro. He took Geo to a whole new level that I've never seen it go. But
He hasn't
And
tried. He has done all 9.
oh, did he finally get all nines on
Yeah, I've got a
the?
screening.
That's so cool.
I think it's
Yeah.
because he's got the stage 5 Lorgmore.
Oh, he finally stage 5 did. I thought he was
Yeah.
just doing it with stage 4.
Oh, I mean, that's my understanding.
Oh,
I
maybe
don't
he
play
did.
with him enough to know for sure.
Yeah. But that, I mean,
I
that's
won't stat
crazy
on.
to think about. Like coming up, like Geo basically fizzled out and wasn't even thought about in Odyssey for the longest time because
Well,
of the
when
Geo
they
bubble
nerf the
nerfs.
geo bubbles in every piece of content that comes out, it's like we can bring other jobs.
Yeah, and then Sortie came out, and the basement came out, and this 9 boss strategy came out, and all of a sudden you have Geo's doing 600, 700, 800 k damage on an Ammonon run, and you're like, oh wait, this job is extremely relevant, not only for its buffs, but for its additional damage that it's putting out. Even paladins are making Excalibur, and Excalibur has a use. And you can sit there and pop out 35k uh, Knights of the Round. Like,
Sometimes 45
oh,
with a nice bolster.
oh,
I mean, I wish I had a flow chart in front of me as to like flow chart might not be the word, but like an archive maybe of how things progressed and who tried what. Because I remember, you know, the 8 boss with the wall was up. Everyone was doing mage strat. That's all you could get into. I didn't have a sortie static at the time, and I would just join pugs. I would do core for mages because it's brain dead. But
yeah,
you get a 6 to 8 boss here and there depending on how good the pug is. But there were definitely the people who were doing 8 boss every day, and then there were the pioneers who were trying Amanon when it got released. And God, I mean, having to uncover that strategy where you force it into dark mode and you sub samurai on your Corsair just to get TP better.
hmm
You open the weapon skill, you close the darkness, you burst death of all things. And I know
yeah,
that there were so many black mages making Havergalmir, the Empyrean, just for the death build.
yeah.
It was
I
so
never made
popular
it.
for a couple months. Everyone was really hyping it up.
Yeah, Verglimir was the coolest thing since sliced bread. It was definitely hype. My first Aminon kill, I think, was 42 minutes.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like everyone would dedicate an entire run to just the Amanon. And then I
Yeah.
remember seeing some videos posted where people were getting like Amanon plus 2 bosses. It was like, whoa. And then it was Amanon
Yep.
plus 4 bosses. Whoa.
Yeah, we had a rotation. Like we would do Aminon plus E plus A, and then the next day do the 6 that we needed to do our Aminon run plus A and E if we could get them in, and then the next day would be Aminon plus E and A. Like it
They
was
made
I mean it it felt like a great time back in the day.
well,
Ammononia.
it was.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you think about it, you were basically looking at 42, 45 tops on an 8 boss mage run. And then all of a sudden, this one boss came out where you can get 30k galley from one boss kill. And you're like,
And it
hey, this
guaranteed
is
one. Don't
and a
forget the
guaranteed
plus
plus
one.
one. Oh, those earrings. There's something else. I
Well,
can't
I
wait
feel
for
like
the day that we can trade them in. Like, trade in 3 of a certain job for one that we
I've
actually
said this
want.
forever, and Square Enix doesn't care about us. They want us to take as long as possible to complete this content so that we continue to pay their subs and whatnot. They don't want to give us any freebies, any leeway, any quality of life. But I think the best thing that they could do for this content, given how rare and obnoxious the +2 earrings are to get, is to have a upgrade path and utilize the stones that drop like candy. If you don't want to use the candy stones that we get constantly, like the icons, right?
Mhm.
Make us use Mesosiderite from Amanon. Like you have a
Yeah.
+1 earring. use a meso to make it +2, or use 4 meso to make it +2. And then each additional meso you give the NPC adds 1 stat to it. So it would take 4 additional meso to +20 it from +16.
That'd be
And
pretty cool.
that's the same as making a weapon. That
Yeah.
takes 4 meso.
Add in some galley cost too as well, so the people have reasons to keep doing uh the content. I mean, I get the idea that this is a very old game and they can't like just time sync everything and give us everything right up the front so that we have nothing to do, and then it turns into, not to badmouth Final Fantasy 14, but every time a new expansion comes out, everybody gets so hype about Final Fantasy 14, plays for 2
For a
months
month.
nonstop, and then just after 2 months, everybody's like, "Okay, we're in waiting mode again."
I kind of part of me's envious of that model of game where it's like, I did it. Now I get to play other games for a couple months and completely cold turkey this game. Whereas I cannot cold turkey Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah, I've quit like 3 times, and I think obviously I always come
Get
back
that
because
it.
here I am. Yeah, you just there's no game like it. There's there's nothing like this. The depth, the
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 horizontal
just
progression.
yeah, the insane level of thought you can put into your gear and all the gear swaps and changes and preparation you can do, and you feel it in the content.
This shit's deep, bruh.
You go into, like, I remember the V25 progression, you'd go in and you just got absolutely shit handed, like,
Where you had just
stomped into the
like a
ground.
V20 and you're like, why is this so different? It's hitting so much harder.
But then you go and you focus on your sets and you work on them and you make everything stronger and you make everything better and you feel so good and you go back and you just hand it to these bosses and you're like, "I did this.
That is the
I
most
figured this
satisfying.
out." Yeah, I mean, we're talking about getting ready to do the master trial ourselves, and, I mean, that's gonna be one of those. I just recently finished the Crystal Paradise one.
I love Crystal Paradise. I think it's
Crystal Paradise was phenomenal.
optimal level of difficulty to like understanding. It's
Yeah,
got the
even
right
with
mix of like you can quite quickly figure out what you need to do, and it's geared appropriately to people at current content level, and it's not so excessively hard that it pushes people out.
yeah, we've got all this strong gear, but it doesn't matter if you're on the ground.
Put
Like,
up your shadows. Put up your shadows.
yeah, it was a constant call out, shadows, shadows, shadows. Our white mage was watching people's shadows every time that one of the little bro would do his up in the air explosion implosion move,
Spinning
whatever
wing.
it is it is. Uh, our white mage would call out, "Everybody, put your shadows back up. Make sure your shadows are topped off."
Otherwise,
I
you get
was
fired.
Yeah, I was ninja on that fight. That was an hour of watching my shadows so close. My sand timer was never down or up. It was never up. Like, I was just spamming. I went through like 4 stacks of ninja tools a run.
You have ninja tool expertise, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you just blew through tools and you're just constantly on top of it. There was no relaxing for an hour straight. It was exciting and it felt
Definitely a
good
fun
to clear
fight.
that content.
I feel like the two master trials, the one that's only been beaten twice and the one that hasn't been beaten, are like they're not good fights. In that, I'm sure they're fun in that they're engaging to try to solve as a puzzle, but they're not fun in that they're way too overtuned, and especially August has kind of got elements of RNG to it. It just does not sound fun. So I can't wait to see you on the floor when
Yeah,
you're tanking that thing.
I will definitely be on the floor. I've told everybody that I'm so ready to just be humbled by content.
Be humble, sit down.
I'll be sitting down all right. I'll be like, okay, this sucks, but
It's going to be, a learning curve with anything, but That's the premier, like, this is the hardest thing right now.
But it's also one of those where you think about we talk about our gear level and things like that. Do you believe that recent clear was even possible without
Before the
the
null
release
gear,
of
I was
yeah,
thinking about that because
before the
when I
null gear
saw that
came out?
fight, because I spoke with Shiraj quite a bit and watched a lot of his recordings during Prague, and
Mhm.
he would bounce ideas off me whenever we were chatting when they were still trying to figure it out. And it was always, man, the core just they sometimes they just can't hit August. It's just the accuracy is not high enough. They're in full accuracy gear, and I'm like, are they wearing like all this and that? Yeah, they just can't hit him. And then lo and behold, Zola's group, the JP group, we're using 3 Corsairs and no Ranger. I'm like, how the hell are they hitting him? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, the null pieces alone, that was I
Like
mean, it
50,
had to have
right?
yeah, it had to have been, like, an extra 70 to 100 ranged accuracy,
But they're not getting preludes, so it's like, huh? Is
but they
is
have hunters roll full
is
time.
distract? No, they're not.
Oh, they're not hunters
They're
rolling.
not using Hunter's Roll. At least from the write up on FFXI, the guy that read Japanese and wrote it out. I did not see Hunter's Roll in there. I think it's just riding Distract. Like, I guess
I
Distract
mean,
is that
distract
good.
is pretty crazy, like, 350 some evasion down. That's a large number.
Is it really that big?
Oh, it's enormous.
You've heard that before, right?
Eh, unfortunately, I don't probably not, but, I can hope for it.
Yeah,
Let's
you got
see.
30 on
Click,
the
click,
belt,
click, click, click,
50
click,
on the
click, click.
back, and 50 on the neck. That's a lot. I'd say comparatively, you probably got like
I must have been thinking
30 on the
of
back, 15 on the belt.
it caps at -130 before enfeebling potency equipment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably at
So
least 200 bucks.
it's probably a very large number. I don't remember the exact number. I
So
think I was thinking of magic evasion from Frazzle because I know Frazzle 3 can get up to like 300 some magic
speaking of
evasion
that
down.
fight, we got our buddy watching the video, and he desperately doesn't want to make an Armageddon, and then he sees, oh, they use wildfire in this. Oh, they're using death penalty, and then
Uh,
he just tagged me in a Discord. He's like, they're using Armageddon on Theodore. Sad face.
it's
He does
wild
not want
because
to get that gun
you still have to break the D mind as well. And I don't know what
yeah,
job August is.
for distract.
Yeah,
Um, I would assume he's a paladin, but he does
yeah,
all sorts
I
of willy
assume.
nilly stuff. So who knows?
I think he's always been paladin sub bard. Like I
That
think
sounds
he's
right.
always had bard in him, which
He
bard
whips
has a
out that
decent
flute that does
mind.
damage. I've always, as a
Yeah.
bard myself, I've always been jealous that he can do actual damage with a song.
Hey, we've got Requiem.
Air quotes damage. Hey, I throw Requiem on Ammonon every night. Come on.
That's awesome. I
Why
don't know
wouldn't
too
you?
many people that do it.
Why wouldn't you? You pop Nitro, you give everyone the stuff, you throw Dark Trinity on them, just throw the Requiem on right there, and then get started.
I will say it's interesting running with different groups because I pick up something new every time I run with somebody different. Like just things that other people have thought of that I haven't thought of. I have to shout out Jinbei because he taught me something on Paladin where, I mean, on E-Boss, he whoops out his Excalibur and his Aegis, and he builds to 3k TP. So that when Ammonon fight starts and all the buffs get out, he's throwing a 3k Savage Blade to boost his damage, and he hits like 400k damage on Paladin. The dude's a monster. And then there was the other night we ran with you in the other group, and you taught us all about using wildcard at the beginning and stuff like that, different ideas, and the idea you had with taking off all your potency gear for Bolter's rolls so that you can always easily
I gotta
overwrite
give
it.
some credit to Nika there, because he talked about it as well.
Okay. I
But
mean, there's
ever since then, I've been trying to like sing the gospel of that concept.
yeah, it's such an interesting idea. Just all of these people are still coming up with ideas for content that has been out for over 2 years, and we're still optimizing this 9 boss strat.
It'll never be maximized.
Probably not.
I don't think so. I mean,
Just because there's that level of RNG, you can get bad bitzers, you can get rough TP moves, you can get all kinds of different things happening, weird placement, weird pathing of the NMs.
you get perfect placement of every Bitzer and perfect placement of every NM. I mean, what do you think is possible? I think you can get all the upstairs minis, all the downstairs minis, all the flans, 2 sets of knocks. That's like
Yeah,
94K right there.
that's big. I mean, just thinking about like where people are with Amnon hard mode. I mean, we talked about just continuing doing hard mode every time because it only added an extra minute to our kill time. Like we're dropping Amnon in like 6.5 minutes on hard mode.
I think you have to have good rolls for that, though. Because, like, I've been timing my runs recently, and bad rolls versus good rolls literally adds like a
Oh,
whole minute or two. It's
it,
crazy.
it is definitely very noticeable, but half the time when we get really, really good rolls, that's the only time that we ever get a TP
Oh,
move.
pop
And
them.
that's yeah. It happens like once every 3 or 4 months, but it happens and
We
we're
got
just like,
two
"Oh, well,
11s.
yep."
That's when everyone has to
Yeah.
kind of like hold back a little bit.
Or when the wild card happens and everybody gets 3K TP all of a sudden and they get
But
those
because I'm usually
big beefy
4,
eyes.
if I roll that 4, I tell everyone don't weapon skill, 2 weapon skills, then a drain. And the Geo should go last. Typically they do
Yeah.
the least damage. Well, the Paladin does the least. But
Yeah.
yeah, you get the point.
You're sitting there, but everybody gets those big eyes of the deer, like deer in the headlights kind of like look, and you're just like, oh, I got 3K TP. I can hit a big weapon skill. I can hit my big number, and people forget about it, and then
Well, my group does skill chains in every NM, and I think that's kind of tempered people to hold until they're supposed to go.
we skill chain every NM as well.
That's good. I know
Yeah.
it wasn't popular 6 months ago. I think it's starting
No,
to catch up.
I still. Everybody has to be on board for it. It has to be a 6-person commitment. And that's what I've always said. If you don't have 6 people that are interested in doing it, it does not work. Because
I
somebody's
think
going to
if
get
you
bored.
execute it
Somebody's going to.
properly, it's worth it. It's definitely a time save, especially on certain bosses like F,
Hmm.
who gets such a big defense, or maybe not defense, but he gets such a resistance wall early where you go from doing like 60, 70 Ks to doing like 25, 30 Ks right away.
I
Getting that
love it.
chunk of double darkness 999s right off the
Hmm.
rip is
And you get
so
that
worth it.
proc too sometimes.
Absolutely.
And then there's a C boss. I love skill chaining the C boss just because it makes people stop and think about what they're doing. Like my rotation on C boss is I run up, I drop frailty. I'm on Geo, by the way, obviously. But I drop frailty, and then I hit absorb TP, and then I use my occult acumen set to build TP, and then I stun. And while that's going on, the bard is stunned, the corsair is stunned after they open the skill chain, the dancer's doing the skill chain, the red mage is closed.
Yep.
By the time my stun's done, I'm pulling out my weapon, I'm hitting my weapon skill, he dies, and we don't get haunted.
It's like when you get to a level where everyone is doing this shit on
The
point
next
every
level,
day, the next level.
hey, okay, sorry.
When you get to that next level where everyone is doing this shit on point, and it's like every day you ingrain it in your brain, you have to do certain actions on certain bosses. It's like a flow chart. You get to see, oh, the paladin pops holy circle, goes in, shield bashes, it's stunned, everyone runs in, corsair opens with savage blade, waits for it to unstun, stuns, the other guys are draining, everyone's doing this stuff. You turn around so you don't feed it extra TP, the skill chain finishes, everyone turns around and blows their TP load, and it dies, and it does 1 TP move at best.
Yep.
It just gets so methodical, and once you
It
see it in
feels good.
action, it's really nice.
It feels so good. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and it is also one of those things that we make fun of because everybody gets complacent every once in a while, and you'll always see once I'd say once a month, maybe sometimes once every 2 weeks. Somebody will just get lazy and break a skill chain. They get heckled in Discord. Like, just
Oh,
get
yeah.
blown up. Like,
I'm
oh,
notorious for being one of those guys that heckles.
yeah. I mean, you just gotta have fun with it. I don't think there's anybody who has ever said, every single night of my life for an hour, maybe 2 hours if I do 2 runs, I just want to look at purple walls. I want to run, spend 45 minutes running and 15 minutes doing content.
Well, it's like you were saying earlier. I mean, the people you run with, they become your buddies, whether they were before or not. They become your
Hmm.
buddies. You're hanging out with them, most groups at least 5 days a week. And then, how do you get along doing this shit every day for hours on end without goofing around? You have to chat, you have to laugh. If you're just like nose to the grindstone, staring at the thing, typing away, and you're not even talking, and you're just like focusing on these mechanics, you're gonna lose your brain. It's like numbers, bop,
Hmm.
bop, 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 bop. You can't do it. You have to have fun. If it's not fun, then you're gonna burn out.
Absolutely. Well, kind of back to the topic at hand. What do you think are the best jobs for people that are starting to try to get into Sortie? Like, you're a new player, you want to get into this Imperium +2 +3 world, start building your prime. What job are you going for?
I think it's kind of dumb, but Corsair is always kind of like the newbie, easy to get started, but has a high ceiling kind of job. Like, you don't need a lot of requirement entry level for Corsair. Obviously, people want to Rostam Corsair, but you can get by with just the Regal neck, and then you work on it from there. Especially if you're just in mage groups, you're just gonna give them rolls, and you're gonna quick draw to boost the damage with your Empyrean feat, and that's almost it. You might help with a skill chain here and there. I think it's the easiest job to get into like endgame in general.
I would
But
agree.
outside of that, because many people might do the same thing, and there's going to be an abundance of Corsairs. I mean, probably Geo, even though it's highly
You,
desirable to have the Ergon, which takes 6 months to get.
yeah, I mean, you kind of want the Idris. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I think Paladin's pretty low gear
Yeah, I would
floor.
agree with that.
You
If
have to you have to understand the kiting, you have to understand the hate mechanics and things
if
like
we're
that.
we're talking 9 boss, or we're
Yeah,
talking okay, if we're talking 9 boss, then I definitely agree with you. The kiting is something that takes time, but it would take any paladin time. You have to be
sure.
in there to do it.
I mean, you want to at least if you are going to jump on Paladin, you definitely want to make sure your enmity sets are good. I recommend everybody to build a cure cheat. If anybody doesn't know what a cure cheat is, it's when you're running, your precast drops you, say, 1,000 HP, and then your midcast will put you into a realm where you're getting all that heal back, but you never really dropped the HP.
You have some
So
enmity.
you're getting that enmity. Yeah,
I think it's from what I've seen people using cure cheats, it's better than casting foil or anything like that, which is
it is
near
100%.
enmity.
It's 100% better because it's faster. It has a lower cooldown. I cast about 2 Cure 4s to every foil. A lot of people will still like try to stay in range for flash. I just recommend don't. Like, it gets too close, you can get a TP move.
No, if you're at 20 alms, that's a problem. You want to be at like 23 and
Yeah,
constantly in between 22 and 25.
18 is that oh shit realm where you're gonna get a TP move. So if you're 20 or 21, you're really pushing it close to get that flash off.
On Ita, the H boss, that's like a death sentence sometimes. You'll get the
The
fetters and
feathers, ooh.
everyone starts taking damage, or like I don't know how it works exactly, but sometimes I'll see, I guess the paladin got too far and he just stops looking at the paladin, and that's a problem too.
Yeah, if you get to 28, he can just turn around and be
No, you're
bored with
dumb.
you. Oh yeah, I've screwed up a few runs in
Professional.
my time.
Professional.
Eh. But yeah, I mean, for 9 boss like Bard, you pretty much have to have your Rimas. You can't really
Not
go
only
in
that, I
there.
think like if you're gonna do that level of content, they expect you to have Arya too.
That's true as well. I mean, you can do 9 boss with stage 3
Yeah,
for the Bard
yeah.
Horn.
But I think that's a minimum. Like I wouldn't want a Herkitude instead of Arya.
I think you just throw another minuet with Soul Voice, but
Probably.
I don't know. It'd be
You
interesting.
might not need it.
Yeah, since we are abusing PDL, you probably wouldn't need it.
You got bolster up anyway. For all intents and purposes, your attack cap.
Yeah, so I mean, with all these jobs, Red Mage is definitely
I think Red Mage
very
is
gear
a
reliant.
job in the 9 boss cookie cutter comp.
Oh, a bad Red Mage just makes the run feel so bad. If
It's
they
hard
don't
to
know to
juggle
Saboteur
all the buffs
Gravity,
up and yeah, that too.
if they don't have the right potency in their sets, like Red Mage is really one of those. It shows a lot the minimum requirements versus the maximum requirements.
Yes.
And I mean, Red Mage can pump some serious damage too.
Oh yeah, with a good occultic human set.
Yeah, I mean,
Under 5, you're getting full TP.
oh, just impact.
I
You're
think Thunder
good.
5 is better. You don't burn all your MP pool.
I will say that our Red Mage has it like down to this art, and he showed me his rotation, and it's so clean because he'll save spontaneity for impact. He'll weapon skill, spontaneity, impact, weapon skill. Of course, throw a drain in there when it's off cooldown, and throw another impact, weapon skill. Uses items, impacts back, hit convert, and then impact again. Like he'll convert probably 3 to 4 times and spontaneity 3 to 4 times throughout an Ammonon fight, and he'll
Yeah, I know
pump
good
like
red mages.
1.2 mil.
They can put over 1,000,000 for
Oh
easy.
yeah, and it shows how different it is. I mean, good Corsairs can. I mean, I've seen Corsairs that beat dancers.
Well, I don't think that's a good Corsair. I think that's a bad dancer.
Yeah, there's that. We won't go into that
I don't think
one,
that
but
should happen.
probably shouldn't happen. But the fact that it's there shows that the skill level can show.
Well, on Corsair, it's like if you have all your stuff right, you got the good rolls up, you got your drinks on. It's like weapon skill, you're at 500. Quick draw, you're at 900 or 1,000. You weapon skill, you throw a drain out, rinse, repeat. It's like quick draw, weapon skill, drain, quick draw, weapon skill, random deal when the dancer calls for it, and then you have random. You get the quick draw back. Boom, you keep going. You pop a Icarus swing when you have no quick draws up, and it's kind of the same thing where you get your cooldowns off and then you use med, and you get your cooldowns off and then you use something else.
You know, Sortie and Odyssey really brought out the whole idea of everybody carrying meds. Before this content, my inventory was just gear. That's all I carried, and now all I carry is meds and like 1,600 different
I'm,
kinds of food.
I'm like a blue mage at heart, and solo I play blue mage more than any other job. And I used to only carry like echo drops.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
nowadays, like, I gotta have 3 different kinds of food, and I gotta have Icarus wings, and I gotta have a Hermes quencher just in case, and I gotta
Yep.
have stacks of panaceas, remedies, holy water, the whole 9 yards.
So we're talking about newer players and what they need to make sure they bring. These are things you need to think about. The courier vendor Moogle is your best friend
Oh, yeah.
because you need remedies for the taint from the A&E boss. You need holy waters in case you get cursed
I think
by
slept on
CNG.
poison potions are slept on. If you do
I carry
encounters
2 stacks.
if you do encounters where stuff's gonna sleep good, like if you do the
The
flans,
flans.
you should pop
Yep.
one, and you will avoid that sleep good. Makes it so
I
much
always
easier.
carry antacids. You always have
True.
somebody that's bringing marine stew pots pretty much for this.
My group has gotten to the point. Our paladin is a Yushatan cooker,
Ooh,
so we have 3 people with Ibisu fishing rods, and every couple of weekends, I think it's like every third weekend, we all hop on the boat. We fish up a ton of mola mola, like 40, 50 of them. I go farm some mushrooms from the copper caps or whatever they're called, and then he crafts like a whole batch, and then we have tons for the month
that's awesome.
because those marine stew pots are clutch. Everyone needs the magic accuracy.
And everybody needs the regular accuracy too. I know that on Dancer, I do prefer to use Sublime +1, but that's just me personally because you're also using the TP bonus offhand.
I know the dancer, like, it's hit or miss. They can totally just ride the stew pot, but if if anyone were to not use the stew pot, it would be the paladin and the dancer.
I like the stew
Paladin
pot
is
on
like
Paladin just because of the beginning objectives when we split.
it is nice. Don't get me wrong. I've
Yeah,
seen the paladin use omelet instead just to get some enmity.
that makes sense. I can see that. The only thing I hate about omelet sandwiches is they only last 30 minutes, even the +1s.
The +1's 30?
Yeah,
That's weird.
it's terrible. I hate it. Like, I don't mind spending money on good food, but you're sitting there like you have this omelet +1 and it's still only 30 minutes.
Our
Like, come on.
paladin's a bad man. He used his rainbow mogpel to get the nomad Moogle shield. So
Or says it too.
every day at the run, I'll pop the stew pot, the paladin will pop his food, dancer his food, and then he pops the nomad Moogle shield, and 75% of the time it doubles the duration of everyone's food.
Yep, we have 5-hour stew pots half the time.
It's so nice.
People that log out will log in the next day and still have their food on from the day
I don't
before.
log out, so I don't get that benefit, but yeah.
I don't either. So,
I leave my guy sitting there looking stupid.
but yeah, I mean, I actually ran over to the courier vendor Moogle right now because I needed to replenish my medicines from yesterday. But
Daily thing, man.
yeah,
Daily thing.
you've got Vile Elixir +1, Icarus Wings. You should always keep those on you. Re-raisers, high re-raisers. You need silent oils and prism powders
I
because
go
every
through
moment.
over a stack of silent oils every run.
Yep,
So I carry 2 stacks, even though I don't need 2 full stacks. You should always have more than 1 stack.
I carry 3 because somebody always in the middle of the run is like, "Oh crap, I ran out of silent oils."
Everyone's had that guy, and everyone at times has been that guy. So it's always worth having extra. I bring
Hey,
25 Frontier sodas every run.
what? 25?
And they don't stack.
No, they don't. My inventory just cried for you.
I mean, they're gone by the end of the run. I'll use 15 to 20 myself every run.
That's wild. I don't optimize that much.
Well, we'll kill a boss, and everyone puts up their silent oil and the bolters roll, and then I'll pop a Frontier soda. And then by the
Okay.
time I'm at the boss again, the next one, I've got a chunk of TP. Plus my idle regain set, and standing next to the paladin who has the body piece with sphere regain, I'll get like 400 to 500 TP.
That's optimization right there. But
Stuff adds up if you're meant to open a skill chain.
I thought you were on Corsair though,
It depends. Like
because
upstairs,
Corsairs usually change.
sometimes I'll leave my weapon locked and just ride the +7.
Okay,
It depends on if the bard has TP too. And we'll communicate. The bard can open instead of me.
that's fair. I like it.
That reminds me that, like, I know we mentioned it briefly, but the whole bolters thing, I can't like praise that enough. It's been such a game changer for me.
So go ahead and explain, because you understand it a lot more in depth than I do. So I'll let you go ahead and explain in depth what we're meaning by that.
I think any Corsair understands that you do a roll, and the next roll you do will last less than it, and then your third roll will overwrite the first roll. But the way it works internally is every roll the roll will have a timer based on your gear, and the lowest duration roll will always be the first out. But you might be thinking, you just said that with the first thing. Well, if you change the duration of your roll via gear, the second roll might be lower duration than the first roll. So what I tend to do is, on a boss, I'm going to buff Chaos or Sam, usually on the way to it so that my timers are up. And then we kill the boss, and then I pop Bolter's Roll. But my Bolter's Roll has no duration gear in it at all, which means the time it took from the time I rolled the buff and the time it took for us to kill the boss, the Bolter's Roll is still lower duration than that first roll, which means it will be the first roll to come off on my next roll. So
Crazy.
we've got Samurai on, kill the boss, pop Bolters, run to the next boss. Now I do my Chaos roll, and instead of overwriting the Samurai that's old, it'll overwrite the Bolters, and I don't have to do anything. We both have everyone has two rolls. And then
Yeah,
we
it
kill the
saves a
boss,
lot of time
there's
because
again.
you don't.
Let's repeat.
It saves a lot of time because you don't have to stop when Phantom rolls up and overwrite the old roll, so that when you do a roll on the boss, you're having both rolls.
I know a
So
lot of people like to oh, we get to a basement, everyone stop, and then you buff. You still have to do that in some cases. Like if you have a party member that gets aggro and you have to reapply bolters, it kind of throws the whole cycle off. If you fight a mini, it throws the cycle off. But if you're just going boss to boss, it lets you keep those double buffs up without any thought.
I mean that it's just really cool to think of all that optimization and throwing that in. Just all the different things that go on with
I feel like
people's
every job
brains.
has these nuances, though.
One of the more fun ones that I've enjoyed recently is using Cataclysm on Geo.
Well, there you go. Like, I don't know geos that do that when we cleave lands.
Oh, I mean, I'm seeing some good numbers. Like I'm seeing 40, 50K Cataclysms.
What staff do you use?
I'm just using a Malignance Pole right now.
Okay. Well, it's got
Uh,
WSD on it, right?
yeah, 15 WSD and it has 20 DT on it. So I'm
Does
not like,
you get access to Impaka staff?
uh, they do.
I wonder what's better.
I don't know. I've always just tried the Malignance Pole because I wanted a reason to use the damn thing.
That's really
But
cool, though.
but yeah, you talk about even getting behind the Botulus because you can optimize that occult acumen gear that you're building on Geo as well.
Absolutely.
You do a Cataclysm, you throw a Thundara 3. It also helps as your tag so that you're tagging everything and your bubbles hitting because you're already using acumen malaise on flans as it is. And then you throw a Cataclysm, and I mean, 2K Cataclysms, like I said, you can see upwards of 46K.
I was gonna
Not
say
that that's happening
35
all
at
the time.
most. 46?
Yeah, I've seen 46
Big,
to
big,
50.
big.
Like,
That is big.
yeah, it's some serious damage.
That'll save you a lot of time on those flans.
We've been trying to actually find things to do because we're sitting there killing these flans, and you have as
You
soon
kill
as
them
you
back
enter
in
E,
5 minutes? Yeah.
yeah, as soon as you enter E, you have to be in there for 5 minutes before the knuckles spawn, and that's what we do after Aminon. Half the
Mhm.
time we're getting to E boss and sitting at the teleporter for almost a minute.
I think that's single-handedly on that Cataclysm set, no? That's kinda crazy.
Even before it, we were getting 30 seconds, but yeah, it's definitely helped. It it can be pretty big damage, but I mean everybody's doing so much damage there. The bards throwing out alien
I'm
edges.
gonna have to try that.
It's fun. It's just something different. It makes the run feel different and inventive. And I mean, that's another shout out to Afro. Like he's the one, or it was in around Afro that I heard about this idea. So I went ahead and tried it out, and it was awesome. But you think about all the weapon skill gear and the hairpin and the Archon ring and all the different uh dark magic or dark damage
Yeah, dude, it's a
buffing stuff.
daily lead and Peru. Of course, it's
Yeah,
gonna be crazy.
yeah, it's pretty big. So that's a lot of fun to do as well. Um, Optimizing your Blaze of Glory windows. Obviously, anybody hasn't noticed, I play a lot of Geo and Sortie, but I save Blaze of Glory for my second one. Of course, you do like the normal ones. You both or you white encompass H and you uh, bog F and things like that. Or some people do the other way. They white encompass F and or
I
bog
wonder why.
H. Um, some people don't think that H moves very fast because you're doing indie gravity and you're doing gravity too. But
H
then
moves
F
pretty
is
fast.
just getting, huh?
I think H moves pretty fast, even with that stuff.
I do too, and that's why we've kept white encompass there. But it's also like H seems easier to path as well. F does some weird pathing for me as a paladin. I've noticed that F will path sometimes in just weird directions because he's so slow.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
And
because it's slow, right?
correct. And it's so hard to keep him right around the bubble, and you have to keep a mind of that because it's not white encompassed. So, but H is very, very predictable in its pathing because it's moving a little bit faster. So you have to just keep moving the entire time. I feel like you have more downtime and more wiggle room on
With
F.
just enough gravity on H, he moves just slower than you that you have time to like get a lead, cast a spell, get a lead, cast a spell.
Hmm.
With
And
F,
you're
you kind of have to
and you're
like
usually getting that ND gravity,
yeah.
knowing you're in trust. But yeah, I like to have my second bog. Make sure my Blaze of Glory is always on cooldown, and have my second bog for B boss because, as we talked about, B boss can always throw those problems. It can always just be an annoying fight. So throwing that extra Blaze of Glory with Ecliptic Alteration on it is like, oh, it's so nice.
Something that I've typically done at B Boss, which is like the same kind of concept, just maximizing your JA timers. With Corsair, if you pop random deal at B Boss before you enter, you're going to give your paladin back their enmity tools to make things a little simpler. And that is like the best time to use random deal again before Amanon because it'll definitely be back in time.
Oh heck yeah, I really like that because as a paladin,
You
um,
probably blew your load on stuff on C to
I
not get it.
actually hold back. I actually hold back a little bit, and knowing that B is coming up and I won't have everything ready. So that's like definitely a cool optimization because I don't. I usually just hit Divine Emblem because I know it'll be back, and I pop some other job abilities that I won't need, but I won't Sentinel
Yeah.
because I
It might
have
be
to have it for
it might
B.
give Sentinel.
So yeah, I
I
mean
guess, I guess
that's
it's
really cool.
scary though. If he's wind hands, you don't want to get Sentinel stolen.
Yeah, that's happened a few times. As long as you click it off though, and you remember to, but the scary part is doing Rampart because he can suck that from anybody.
True.
We've had that happen a couple times and we're just like, why is he taking no damage?
Have you had the red mage forget to drop ice spikes?
No, but I heard about that one.
Speaking of like bad debuffs that get stolen, my group does the minis downstairs as much as possible. I know it's not a
No, it's
popular
gonna
thing.
be the Toledo. It's gonna be the Toledo.
It sure is. So it does that move that if it gets off, we try to stun every move, but you know, we're not perfect.
Shit happens.
Gets that move off, it spreads a debuff it has on it to other players. And the one run I was on Bard and I elegied it, and that was a mistake. I popped Nitro and all of my timers were just screwed. Like, flow was so bad because it was soul voiced.
Oh no.
It was
It's
brutal.
it's okay because I can top this one.
I'm topping it right now. Like a week or two later, it happened again, but the red mage that we had wasn't our normal red mage and had paralyzed the Tulita. So it gets the move off the moment I click my nitro button, and both of them get paralyzed. And I'm under soul voice already.
Oh gosh.
So we lose the soul voice nitro.
It's okay, I can still top it.
No way.
This is back when Gate Strat. Yep.
Oh no!
Yep. I bursted an 11K Helix
Everyone's
on
dead.
it. It spread everyone immediately. There was no hesitation. The move went off, immediately dead.
Oh
We're
no!
all just standing there like mouths agape, just
What
trying to figure
happened?
out what in the world just happened.
You're like, I
And
did
we're
that.
like,
Whoops.
I don't think it was still like when the Toledo was new. We
Yeah.
didn't even know about this at the
Wow, that
time. And
thing busted. It just wipes us.
I think for like a week we didn't go near that damn. We're like, no, that thing's never happening again. But yeah, it was interesting just because like the game still finds ways to punish us if we don't follow mechanics, and we get away with a lot to where we're not following the exact mechanics of a fight. But there's
Just,
some mechanics where if you don't, the game's gonna
oh
let you know.
yeah. To an extent, this game is a lot more lenient than 14 in that regard, where like 14 is kind of like a dance where you have to memorize the mechanic to a
Yep,
T. This
definitely.
game is like, there's a lot of mechanics, but you can kind of just do your thing, except when
You
you
can,
can't.
yeah, except when you can't, and there are quite a few instances in Sortie and Odyssey and this high level content where you don't get to avoid mechanics. And I mean, we talked about Crystal Paradise. That's definitely one where you do not get to avoid mechanics.
Oh no.
These master trials are serious. We were talking about last night of maybe Limbus will come out with some when they do Limbus version 2 whenever they're coming out with that. Maybe it will come out with some new gear and it'll make the Wings of War fight more approachable and more
I hope.
ideas.
I really hope so. I'm excited for Limbus. It's something new, and I kind of liked Limbus back in the day.
Loved it. I had a really bad reputation in my Limbus or
Bad?
yeah, I know. I guess reputation wasn't the right word. It was kind of like a title. This was still back in the lotting days
Oh
where
no.
like you showed up so many times, you gained points, everybody could lot
DKP.
on stuff. Yeah, DKP, whatever, all of that
That's a
nonsense.
WoW term, I believe, but
I think
it's
it
kind of
is. I think it started
ubiquitous.
in. I thought it started in Guild Wars.
Oh, mate, I don't know. I didn't play it.
I didn't either, but anyway. So, but no, I was the longest standing member of my Limbus shell to never win a lot. If anyone was rolling against me, I automatically lost.
So your
Somebody
guild was
had
kind of
to
thing where like
pass.
you have so many points that you get to be the only lot. They always let other
Yeah.
people out against you.
It depends. There was always people that had been there for a while. It was finally like to the new people or me, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna pass this to you." That was how I got my Homeman pants. People had to pass them to me.
I remember chasing the Homam. I think it was also the pants forever,
The pants were
and
amazing.
they would never drop when I was around, even though I was like the only one allowed the lot when I was around because I had so many points. And
Couldn't
then there
make
was
the
one
pants
day
drop.
I just slept through the run, and a brand new Link Shell member that had no points was the only other person that wanted them, and I got them before.
Oh. Oh.
I was so livid.
So
The
we've
good
talked
old
about
days.
So we've talked about jobs that are relevant. We've talked about make sure you got your meds, make sure you're ready for the content. Talk about that. Of course, if anybody has any more specific job questions, our Discord is quite vast. Feel free to jump on. I mean, there are literally a whole tab worth of job related questions. So if you ever have a question about a specific job, please feel free to reach out. We don't want
Well,
to.
not only that, but like starting players who want to get into Nine Boss, you know, you're going to have to work your way into it. You're going to have to get up to 8 boss, then you're going to have to do 8 boss A day, Amanon B day. But it's not like the rigid job structure that we use in our 9 boss runs that you can learn to do it in. You're going to want to, in my opinion, do the best job comp eventually, which is, Dancer, Red Mage, Paladin, Bard, Corsair, Geomancer for X, Y, and Z reason. But I've seen people do no Dancer and they use a Dragoon and they've killed Amanon.
Hmm.
Because Dragoon can use, I think it's Spirit Surge
Fly high.
into fly high into high jump to drain TP. And they get the SU5 or SU3 set that has basically Regal gloves in every slot.
Hmm. Interesting.
I mean, when it was first discovered to do hard mode Amanon, Mage couldn't do it for a plethora of reasons. Him not allowing you to change him to dark mode or something. I don't know the Mage mode that well, but I know hard mode was like a pain point for people to get done with Mage.
Yeah, I haven't heard about too many people still doing mage strat, and if they are, I don't know how they do hard
I
mode.
don't know how they do hard mode on Mage, if even. But my understanding was the whole melee concept was developed to do hard mode.
Sure.
And at first, they used a Dark Knight. So, I mean, Dancer wasn't the end all be all. And I know Dancer is obviously, in my opinion, the strongest DD for the job, but finding a good Dancer is not easy. If you're a
Sure.
player that's trying to break into this content and do Amanon at all, it doesn't have to be every day. It could be every other day, every 3 days, every week. You bring what jobs you have best and work into it. Like use a Dark Knight, use a Dragoon.
I mean, try out different things.
Getting there
Give,
is more important than getting to the pinnacle. You can't skip those steps. You have to like progress.
yeah. Unless you're just lucky like me and fall into the lap of a really experienced sortie group. And you
Is it
just
luck
kind of
though? If you blend it in right away, that sounds like you're carrying your weight, friend.
I won't lie, I probably had about a week and a half of conversations with Nika before I even joined the sortie group. And I really like when I first came in as Geo, I probably did like 100K on Amanon.
No, that's normal. That's normal.
It was, and
When
I
you
had
fight
like,
Amanon for the first time, you're shitting your pants. Like you're like, I don't want to be the one to make him explode. I'm scared.
Mhm.
I don't want to. I need to make sure I'm draining. I don't know when I should weapon skill. You're hesitant. That's
I had a little notepad thing on one of my monitors that said each boss and what I was supposed to do on
that's
each
sick.
boss.
You had your homework. You had a little
Yeah,
cheat
I
sheet.
I didn't want to be the guy to slow down a 9 boss like group that is basically running and operating, and I didn't want to be the guy.
As
So,
someone who's had new people rotate in and out of my group over the past year, I've learned that you just have to kind of like let them come into their own, and it takes a couple of runs, at least a week.
yeah, I mean, the last tab I talked about was sortie becomes a routine, but don't let it ruin your mental. And I am the person for my group. Um, I fill every job besides Corsair. If we're missing somebody,
Do you not play the best
I
job?
switch job because I hate it. Uh, I can't stand that job, man. I don't know why I hate the rolling feature. I hated the rolling card thing in 14. I just hate it.
Well, for all it's worth, and I know that you're quite the king on all those jobs.
Oh,
Just saying.
oh, what a nice guy. But
I've seen your dancer.
I enjoy being able to fill every role. So if somebody misses, we know that that role's filled, and it's pretty easy to fill the Geo role.
Having a
Um,
flexible player like you in that scenario is like so clutch.
I
Like
mean, it's
someone
really
needs
great that,
up last minute, you can shout or ask friends for any job. That's huge.
or Nika can, or we can even like dual box a Geo. Like it's not ideal, but it still just gets the buffs up and stands there,
Yeah,
or
having
does
a
whatever.
crazy person that's able to do that is awesome too.
Yeah, I mean, we're very blessed. Like if somebody needs to take the night off, I just switch jobs and we bring another character, another Geo or something like that. Easy peasy, we don't even think about it. And we don't skip a beat because of the fact that we still have the same people doing the same things. We're not explaining anything. We're just it's the same experience almost.
It's like you're missing no one at all. No one at all.
No one at all. Another thing that I just wanted to quote from one of my good buddies who I came when I first came back and was helping with the sortie group, I came back with the mentality of this is the way to do it, this is the way it should be. Because that's all I knew. Sortie was it was kind of like one of those autopilot things. I turned my brain off, I did it the same way every time, and that's the way I knew how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped me and said, you know, what works for the goose doesn't always work for the gander. And that has stuck with me ever since then. It's stuck in the back of my head of I may know how to do something, but it doesn't mean that it's the best for everybody. And that has been a great approach to sortie for me because I've been able to join other groups, I've been able to jump in other things and ask questions and say, "Hey, how do you want this done?"
It's easy
And
for
I
us to like think of this game through the lens of Sortie because it's basically the premier endgame content now. But that's like good advice for life, dude.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I for 18 years I was in the restaurant industry and I ran a lot of bars. I despised people that went to bartending school. You would think it's a great thing, but you get somebody that comes in from bartending school and they're like, I know how to make every drink. I know how to bartend. I know
They
how
know
to
the
do this.
recipes, they don't know how to handle themselves.
They don't know how to do it our way. And that's the thing. When you're joining a new team, when you're joining a new sortie group, come in there with that open mind. Let's learn their way. Let's learn what they're doing. Let's see if it makes sense. And then after the run, you can pitch ideas and say, hey, we tried this way. Maybe they hadn't thought of that before. Even us experienced sortie players who have done the optimal levels of 9 boss and gotten our 92k runs and killed hard mode with double knocks and had all this cool stuff going
Mhm.
on. We can go into other sortie groups and learn stuff.
Well, I
We
was
can
gonna
learn
say
different ideas.
the same thing, but from the other perspective. Like, if I'm gonna bring a new player into my group, I'd rather a malleable, open-minded, bad player than some experienced, cocky guy who's gonna fight me on how we do things.
Extremely skilled, superb player.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, when you're joining new groups, when you're learning to get back into the swing of things, if you're just returning to the game, if you're just experiencing new things, keep that open mind. And if you see things, bring it up. If you've got a leader or if you've got a group that's actually interested in optimizing sortie,
They're
it's
gonna
going
be
to make
open-minded to
sense.
feedback. Yeah.
I mean, we do pretty much the same run every night, but we just recently adapted a different idea of when we get into C or we get into G, we look for the knock or the narc, whatever the heck that's
Naraka.
the Naraka,
Four-fisted
the
fella.
the Naracle, as we sometimes call it. Yeah, the four-fisted feller. I like that. We look for the Naraka, and then our paladin goes off and does the stare. It saves
Yep.
us 30 seconds later.
Exactly.
But
What
we just adapted that, and we've been running
something
for
that
how
we do
long?
that compounds that is we save the leech for last. We never do it in the beginning of the run. because it will always make its way to its endpoint, and we do CBA, so we end at A. After we do A, we go and kill the leech because it's going to be at its endpoint. But the paladin is already running off to G.
We have
But
honestly talked about that.
by the time the leech is dead, the paladin should be at the device or close to it, and then they get a head start getting to look for the bits there, so they can stare, and then we're playing catch up while they're staring.
Yeah, the only reason I like the fact that we go ABC,
1, 2, 3.
easy, all that stuff. Why? Why do you have to do this to me, man? But our song timers, the way our run is set up, our song timers are set up to where our bard is singing at A. If we did C before A, our bard would be singing on C while we're fighting C, and then the stun rotation gets messed up. So, I mean, it'd be a very easy fix, but it's just not an optimization we've made yet.
I'm guessing you do Nitro Soul Voice on D?
Correct.
I don't like
We
that.
do 5-minute songs at the split. Nitro Soul Voice while we're fighting D. Then kill H. Then go to A, sing there. Kill B, kill C.
I
Sing while we're
understand,
fighting the ghost.
but I'm not a fan of that.
And what works for the goose doesn't always work for the
Exactly.
gander.
Like,
At
we
the
all
end
do
of the
the same
day, it's
thing,
what makes you happy.
but we all do it slightly differently.
The
I
result
could
is
explain
the
my
same.
arguments for, doing it the other way, but, this is more of a bard niche conversation at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and that might work for you. It might make sense in your head. It might not make sense in my head. It might make sense in my head, and it might be one of those things where all of a sudden a revelation happens, like at the beginning of the episode when you told me about the Orem chest in the basement, that you have to like go pick off small little children in
Now you're going to be
each area.
small little children.
I don't know.
Well, now you're going to be thinking about like, hey, if we have a really good run, is there any way we can incorporate killing 3 things in each base?
Yeah, that's so weird. I mean, we
weird.
aggro about 3 things in every base.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, but you do kind of
To
wonder.
the bard thing, I think it's like the best way to approach this content is to be willing to try everything at least once.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, you could pull 3 slugs and 3 slams while you're doing flans and E. It's not going to hurt you.
I mean, most of the
The
time,
elemental thing is going to suck.
right?
The elemental thing is
That
going
would
to
suck,
suck.
yeah. You'd have to get 3 Bergens and 3...
2. Only 2.
Oh,
but
2. Okay.
2 fairies, 2 of each. And you have to worry about dread spikes. Oh.
I'm trying to wonder if all elemental types are in that first room, because there's some fairies in that first room.
There are fairies in the first room. I don't know. I don't remember if there is a wind one, so you can't Aeolian Edge.
Well, you could let in that one. Right?
True.
Brainstorm.
But then you gotta pull 3 hounds and 3 Dullahans all the way to the vampires. But maybe they're in the front room.
There's vampires in the front room.
Is there 3? I know of 2.
That's a good question. Let me pull up my handy dandy Wikipedia.
Because it would make sense if you can do all these things while you're going through the basement floors, and then you finish on the re-entry of H, because sometimes that's where people finish their run, re-entering H, getting that coffer, and then you just pull 8.
Hey, look at that.
8 haughty foes.
It says 333 on the map.
Oh. Interesting.
How about that?
There's still more to learn.
What is it for haughty foes? You had it pulled up.
One of each job. You have to kill 8 of them of different jobs. So 8 different jobs.
It says 1 party, but I wonder how many jobs are in that party.
Party's usually 6.
Well, this map, the Japanese map that's on the wiki, says 1 party equals Paladin, Dark Beast, Bard, Ranger, Sam, Nin, Dragoon.
That sounds like 8. Yeah, that's 8.
If
So
that's the
that's
case,
a
then the starting room in all 4 zones lets you net the objective.
there might be something to this.
Getting crazy, wild, and wacky. How much is that worm coffer? 3K?
Yeah, 3K.
Plus whatever extra shit you get from killing the dudes.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna get
I get the appeal
every-
from way back when we started talking about this in the beginning of the episode. Like, blue mages and cleaving with Entomb, they don't do anything, there's no risk. I get the appeal of that. I don't see how you can incorporate this into like a 9-boss run without it taking like 10 minutes. But I don't know. Maybe.
yeah.
I'd be willing to
The
try.
slime and slugs is easy. That's
Yes.
the easy one.
You can just bring 2 or 3, whatever it's required, while you grab those 3 flan in the
I
beginning.
don't think the
Ride them
hounds,
all the way.
dullahens, and vampires is hard either. The one that would throw us off is the elementals because we're not set up to do the elementals and have everybody do
I
that
think
kind of damage.
the trick really is alien spam while the Corsair picks off things that are susceptible to it.
But what
Or
if it heals them?
does it heal them?
Are the I don't know. Like that's something that we've never tried.
I don't think it would. Maybe the fairies, though.
It could be because the fairies and the elemental of the correct type. Because I think there is an ice wind one
Yeah.
down there. 'Cause I know there's the light fire.
Yep.
I know there's the dark ice. I think dark ice. I know there's one that casts dread spikes, which would be terrible.
There's a Balefur, a Gefrist, a Bergen, and an Ung Wetter.
Yeah, I think that one's thunder wind.
Thunder Wind, Dark Earth, Water Ice, Light Fire.
Yeah, you got it. So it makes you wonder, but it's cool just to think about that. Even as professionally done as our sortie groups are, there's still ideas out there. Pro for show.
It there's always a new idea. There's always new stuff to maximize. I think if you're not trying to like improve at any point, then you lost the point.
Yeah, this game is all about, like you said, horizontal improvement or linear something improvement.
I like to call it horizontal because this is like the only game that I can think of that has gear swapping to the degree that it does. Then
Yeah,
you'll get tons of gear that this is only good for this spell, and it doesn't really increase me in a vertical way. Like my level doesn't go up, but it's best when I cast this spell, and I need to keep it on hand at all times.
I know where I got linear improvement from. That's what my paladin says about how he likes the null gear because it came out and everybody is advancing forward
Yeah,
because it's for all jobs.
kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah, that's where it caught in my head. But shout out to him. I really like the direction, the poopsmith. I really like the direction that the game is going, the way things are happening. Like, just to throw
Not a dead
age
game.
out there,
I know
it's
you
not
talked
dead.
about Velner, and not a dead
It
game.
is not dead. Everybody thought it was going to just be in maintenance mode and just suck the life out of the game. And
thing that everyone keeps saying, but it's really not.
I mean, we get more updates and more stuff happening than 14 does, I think.
Is that true? I know they get a huge expansion all the time now, right?
They get huge stuff, yeah. But we get stuff. We still get stuff every month to do.
We get a slice of bread every month. They get like a feast,
The loaf,
and they get left with nothing.
yeah. But which would you rather be? The person who's feasted and then feels terrible for like 2 months because there's nothing going on and they like have to sit there and have the meat sweats,
I'm out
or
here.
would you rather? Yeah, that's right. We're out here on the bread line. We're taking our little bits every bit we can.
And I'm yelling for more bread every time too. I'll tell you
Oh
what.
yeah. Please, sir, may I have another? Or may I have some more? I think that's the
More,
correct quote.
more.
Mine.
What about Wallaby Way? Something.
Something about Wallaby Way. I do remember that.
That's
Wallaby Way,
it.
Sydney. Eventually, we'll remember the whole quote, I believe. But it will not be this episode. But I think this has been an awesome episode. I'm really happy with the way
I
it
hope
turned out.
so.
I appreciate your time. I know I've been a pain in the butt to schedule with, but I appreciate you
You got a busy
spending some
life,
time.
brother.
Oh, you ain't kidding. But yeah, I'm really excited for this episode to be out there. Really excited for the direction of the game. More stuff to go. Finally get my stage 5 here in 2 months because I'm psyche locked.
Well, hopefully your listeners can pick up some tricks and do better in their sortie runs too.
And of course, if anybody has, like we said, more in-depth questions, more things that you want to talk about, please join the Discord, send us an email, comment on YouTube. There's tons of ways to get a hold of us. Um, Dex is now a member of the Discord, so he can answer all your crazy Corsair questions that I don't know shit about.
You
But
are a pirate.
I want to be a pirate, but I don't want to be a Corsair. I don't know how to solve my problems. If I knew how to solve my problems, I might have a PhD in therapy. Uh, but
Ooh,
anyway, thank you for your time.
thank you for having me.
Any last words? Anything else you wanted to throw
Last
out to the
word?
people?
You're gonna just throw me away and kill me?
Last words for the episode.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to doing some August with you, buddy.
It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have to do a master trial episode.
I'm sure. There's gonna be
But
some
yeah,
crazy people listening in trying to comprehend all the shenanigans. But
but yeah, to anyone who has questions about Sortie, questions about stuff, look us up. Hope everyone enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you on the next one whenever the heck it happens.
shout outs later.